My kids are being a little rambunctious, so I was trying to keep them downstairs. But we might have a little bit of visitors. We might have visitors. I don't know. We're gonna see. I'm trying to persuade my husband to keep them down, but that's why I'm actually on time, but I was running a little late. I was like, oh my God. Of course, it's always when you have to do a live, when you have to do something, right? And I
Mhm.
want someone and Mom, I need this. And I'm like, no, right now, please. How is everybody? Welcome. Nice to see some familiar faces. Nice to see some new faces. How is everyone doing?
Oh,
Huh? Is it Dr. Claire?
oh, yeah. Hey, let me take the doctor off. Sorry, that's my official. Yeah, hey,
Hey.
I'm new to the group, member of Holistic Nurses. I was been a chaplain, hospital
Okay.
chaplain, worked critical care, and that's what I so developed a listening model that I'm about to launch. Something I taught to critical care nurses at a hospital in New Orleans. And
Okay.
so anyway, I've spoken at the Holistic Nurses National Convention and done that a few times. And just I love y'all. I love nurses. Y'all are the best. And any way I can support y'all and what you do that's what I'm about.
Thank you. And are you a nurse or are you a physician?
Actually, my doctor of ministry.
Ministry. Got it.
Yeah, I'm a
Okay.
United Methodist minister, and I got my DMin in spiritual direction, and
Love it.
that was my project was for that was my dissertation. So
Nice.
it was really neat. This model is based on intentional listening, and it's one that use the Quakers have are very serious about us acknowledging the God that's in all of us and
Ah,
tapping into that for wisdom.
I would love to connect with you afterwards.
Okay, great.
I'm all about that intentionality. I actually just recorded one of my modules for energy and intention. So,
Yeah. In
yeah.
fact, I did this summer, was it in June? I did a workshop on energy and the energy you bring into the room with you and stuff. Oh no, Bina, I'd love to talk to
Oh yeah, me and you need to have a conversation on that because me and you I'm
you.
actually doing another workshop specifically around energy and intention.
Yeah.
Because I really do believe that is like the foundation of any type of success, right?
Yes.
Like it is just that's like the intention behind anything. It's an intention if you're trying to become a coach, go into coaching, even into whatever you're trying to do in life in general. Uh,
Yes.
but I just recorded an evolution of success, and the triad, the base thing is intention and energy. So tell me
Wow.
about
That's
that.
cool.
That's
That's
why and I just happened to ask that. So thank you for sharing.
yes. And it's nice to meet everybody. I really do love the holistic nurses. Y'all are the best. But
Nice to
also,
meet you.
let me just say too, I guess while I'm bragging, let me find it. This is,
Brag away.
I've written 3 books, and this was my first one. Amazon bestseller, Heart to Heart.
Congrats. Hey, I'm all for a celebration here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this
For
was
it.
from my study. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Let's jump on the yeah,
somebody
let's
saw that and then asked me to help their management team, and I came up with another book for that. Yeah.
yes, we'll definitely connect. Anna, he's on the call, so we can make sure to get a connection call with you moving in. And we're talking about energy and intentions while we're talking about a pitch deck, because that is actually the correct thing that we need to put while we're talking about pitch decks. So, welcome everybody. Hello, Tanya. I just see you on my screen. Welcome for coming in. Like I was just telling everyone that came in a little late. My little kiddos are probably right on the bottom of the staircase, so we might see some of them jump in or out, but that is just story of my life. And welcome to the free workshop specifically around pitch deck. And the best thing I love about this particular presentation is I'm going to truly explain to you what the difference is between a pitch deck and a sales deck. You can combine the two, and you guys are going to be co-creating your own. So while this workshop, we're going to be sitting there, we're going to be doing it. It is a live interaction workshop. So a couple of things you will need is your cell phone and or a computer, which the majority of you are on. I do use Metameter. It's there for free access and it's interactive. Everything is confidential. And just so you guys know, like that's there. Anna, he already put the participation link below. So once you open that up, it goes in. And if you've never seen Metameter, if you haven't been to any of my calls before, it is very active. We're having conversations. It is not just me presenting. And this also teaches you when you're doing a pitch deck, you want the engagements. You want certain things in life. You really want to leave that crowd to be like, yeah, oh yeah, huh? Really? Oh yeah, I really need to talk to her. Literally, just what I did with Miss Claire right before I came on call. You want to be able to get to a room where already know energetically where I want to go. And as you're moving through the pitch deck, I really want these companies, whoever you're pitching to, it can be one person, it can be multiple people. The biggest difference between a pitch deck and a sales deck, and some people might say I'm wrong, but I'm telling you my version, the Bina version here. Okay. Not an NBA version of the Bina version, but I want to make it clear is that a pitch deck is talking about your company to multiple people. It is more of an awareness. It is more of brand awareness. It is more about how to formulate your sentences in a constructive feedback so you don't feel stuck. Because how many times have you done something and you're like, I think I know my offer, but put you in a room and you're like, oh, I know. And then you're like, oh my God, I forgot to say this. And oh my God, I forgot to say this. And I forgot to mention. A pitch deck is what really truly does have that. Let me just make Anahi co-host here. So that way you're able to really go to an audience. Now, the point of a pitch deck is to give somebody enough information for them to have enough curiosity for you to meet with them afterwards. Okay. Now, a sales deck is at the end of that call, your goal is to get payment. Does that make sense? So the two, they're completely different. So a lot of people were confused and they're like, are we doing the sales training? Yes, I can do a sales training. But prior to even doing that, you have to have the right energy and the right intention, which is actually ironic of what we were just talking about. Because as you walk in, you want to have the right energy going into the room, but feeling confident with with your pitch. And as you're moving through, if it's behind you or in front of you, it's really nice because it keeps you on track. There's nothing wrong with you turning around and looking at your slides. I just want to throw that out there. So if you have a slide behind you and you're talking to an audience and you don't know exactly where you are, there is nothing wrong with you going like this and going, yep, okay, next slide. That is human. It is fine in any pitch. It's any people who've done that. It's completely thing. So I just want to throw that out there and make sure that we're realizing that pitch decks are fun. They're supposed to be entertaining. And there is a very simple formula that me and my team has created. And actually, I've created this formula because I've done many pitches now. I want to say thousands of pitches over this past 5 years. And I was tracking what worked for me and what didn't work for me. And the formula that we really co-created is what really works for me. So that is what I'm presenting for you guys. And reminder that, again, I do not have an MBA. Like, I don't have a master's degree in business. All I know is what works for me. Okay. So just had to put that disclaimer out there because somebody's like, oh, where'd you go to your school? And I'm like, nursing school. I know how to save your life again. Hey, we're still winning. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm pretty sure my daughter's going to come any minute saying hello. Okay. So welcome to, let me just move me over here now. Okay. So for the ones that are on you guys can follow along on your cell phone. This is a QR code if you want to follow along on your phone. If you're on your desktop and you want to do two things at once and split your screen, you're able to go to mentimeter.com and then enter this code. And for the people who are coming in, Anna, he will be able to help you guys in the chat. So Gonna give you guys a couple of minutes because sometimes we need that. And just a reminder while we're here, my name is Bina Bendale. I am the corporate nurse coach. I am the founder of Corporate Nurse Coach Accelerator and the founder of Silent Struggle Solutions and the founder of Real Life with Special Kids. All right, are we good? All right. If you guys need help, just always raise your hand. Everyone know, like everyone who's been on a lot of my workshops before, if you're off mute and want to ask questions, please do. Okay, so the power of the pitch. This is from caregiving to CEO. And I already kind of explained to you guys what the difference is between a pitch deck and a sales deck. And today we're going to be focusing on the pitch deck. This is like your elevator pitch in an elongated form, utilizing pictures and or visuals to help with that. This particular pitch deck can also be shortened to be your elevator pitch at the same time. So we're not reinventing the wheel. So why does this matter? Because you know what? Most nurse coaches, healthcare workers, any actually industry, all we really want to do is help people, but we really don't know how to sell it to companies. How many of you agree with that? Because sometimes I feel like that too still, right?
Yeah.
And without the right pitch deck, sometimes I'm not going to lie, you might not get a second chance. And or some people might feel like, oh, we're not ready enough. We're not good enough is not the correct word. We're not ready enough. Or come back when, sorry, I do cuss. So if anyone believes it, when you get your shit together, then come back and redo it. But sometimes we don't get that second chance. So we really want to be well crafted, have our deck in position, and use the strategy for investment and to tell them that we're not an expense. We are actually there to help. We're there for a reason. And your pitch deck is literally a bridge into corporate clients. And like I said, I must have sent out, I don't know, several hundred different pitches and several hundred different things. And it's my proof is for the first year, I closed my first deal, which was about $500,000 corporate deal. And over this past, actually earlier this year, I just landed a $5 million nationwide contract. And none of this happened without a powerful deck and or personal story and making sure an ROI return of investment was framed. Okay. Because what is the number one thing that people want to hear? I'm going to ask a question here. If you're going to go to a company and you're like, I'm going to use Stephanie because I know her offers this and she's the first person on my screen. Stephanie is co-creating a leadership course, right? So if Stephanie goes into a facility and say, I want you to buy my leadership course, what resistance do you see some companies coming up with?
The cost for one thing, but to begin with, what does it have to do? Why?
Why?
What is it that the
Right.
offer's about?
Why? The big whys. And I'm going to break all this down so you don't have to write notes on this, and we'll make sure to send you guys all the recording. Actually, also, and he has also placed a workbook link in the chat for you guys to also download. But here's the 6-part to the pitch deck formula. You want to make it relatable. You want to make it a human connection. And we put human cost, like, what is it going to cost you? Is it a feeling? Is it an emotion? Is it an investment? Is it like, why? What's the reason? The why is the missing link. Why you? Why is that? Why is the leadership course better than what they already have? You want to then put emotion and logic into it, proof of credibility, and then your call to action. So we're going to be breaking this down as we go. So here's our first question, which I love, Metameter. What do you think about pitching to a corporation? What's the first word that comes to your mind? And this is something that if you scan it, it just pops up. You can type it in. Nervous, fear. Anyone else? There we go. Intimidates, scared, doubt. It's coming. There's more coming.
We have terrified on the chat by
Oh,
Stephanie.
okay. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Annie. I don't have it.
Where are they getting it on that screen?
How do you get it, Stephanie? Use the QR code on your phone. Are you using your phone?
No, I got it up on my other screen on my computer.
Do you
But
have your phone on?
I signed into, I've opened a Mentimeter, but it's not,
Do you have your phone on you?
yes.
Just scan the QR code with your camera and do it through your phone.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha.
Yeah. Intimidate. What does it say? Intimidate. Yep. Yeah. A lot of fear-based. That's a lot of fear-based conversations, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't know I don't know how I got that on there. Someone marked with the red mark on.
Bina, I think I accidentally did that. I was trying to
Ow!
scan on, so I don't know how. I'll try to get it off.
That's
I'm
okay. I don't
sorry.
know how you did it, but okay, great. That's a new thing we didn't know I can even do. There it is. I thought it was my daughter somehow playing with me. So the first thing you want to do is you want to open with making it personable. And I know a lot of you guys, like even going from like this particular slide, a lot of nervous, a lot of nerves, a lot of fear, a lot of limiting beliefs. I'm not sure, but this is why this course or this particular workshop is so important, because I'm going to make it where it doesn't feel impossible. I'm going to make it where it doesn't feel as nervous. It's going to make it where I am ready. Yes, whoever wrote that, yes. We're going to release some of this negativity and turn it into something positive. So, opening. We want to make it personal and relatable. Share who you are. Why are you doing this work? Anchor it into something in your humanity, not just your credentials. How many of us nurses love to do this? And I love doing this part where it says, "Hi, I'm Bina. I'm an RN, an MSN, a critical care nurse, an EECN," and then we dump out a board certified nurse coach. Like we just label everything out. How many of us do that? I know I used to do that. I had a lot of letters behind my name. I'm a big fault for that. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. No one cares. No one cares. They don't care about your credentials. So whether you have 10,000 degrees or whether you have no degree, the main thing you want to do is you want to be you, because they're going to want to invest in your energy and what you want to do and what you bring to the table. That's the biggest number one key here. Okay. You want to show that you are lived for what your clients are living at. So I help parents with special needs, the silent struggle solutions, one of my major companies. I live that every day. I have 3 children, all are all autistic and or have ADHD, right? I understand how that works. I get where parents with disabilities live in. I get it. I can't say I understand all of it, but I can understand the autism world and the ADHD world very well. So I put that into my story. So what I want all of you to do is right now, is while we're going through the slides, is write down 2 or 3 sentences that introduce you in a way that's memorable and relatable. So mine would be, I don't think mine's on the next slide. Nope. So mine would be, "Hi, I'm Bina Bendale. I'm a mother of 3 beautiful children. They all have special conditions and they're all labeled." Something even simple. But do you see how I turned it something simple into something memorable? And how am I going to help? But I don't say "Hi, I'm Bina Bendale. I'm a nurse. I do say I'm a board certified nurse coach. That I do state. But then I take everything else off. Does it help? So right now, I want you guys to kind of brainstorm a little bit, because by the end of this workshop, I do want to help a handful of you guys co-create some of this for yourself. So what is it in 2 or 3 sentences that introduce you in a way that's memorable and relatable? Okay. Give you guys a couple of minutes here. And if you guys have questions or anything, we can talk about it too. And if you're just joining us, we are in the comments. We have placed the Mentimeter and the workbook. And Anna, he will get you situated with that.
Yeah, so in the chat, I put a link called Link to Workbook. It's basically these slides. So you have a copy of these slides so you can continue working on it later on.
Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. So here's a yes or no question. Do you feel your story and your offer has a power to open corporate doors? And corporate meaning any type of business. That's all corporate means. Hmm. Any more? All right. Okay. So majority of you are saying yes. Some of you are saying no. And that's okay. Whoever said no, that's okay. Sometimes it's the offer where we're just not 100% sure. You have a story, but maybe you have multiple stories where you're just like, I'm not sure which one to use yet today. Which one is the most global impact that I want to serve? And that's okay too. But here we are, we're just going to be talking about it so we can acknowledge it and see how we can co-create this no to turn into a yes. Oh. 2, the human cost. This is really the emotional side of things, right? Using your story as an example to really touch that person's heart, where they're really like, man, yes, I've experienced that. I recently done last year a TEDx, and it was about helping talking about parents and difficulties of navigating through a child with a disability to go to the bathroom. And everyone's just, the first question I ask is, how many of you guys go to the bathroom without having any difficulties? You go to the bathroom and you leave and you go and move on with your extra day. Whereas parents with special needs, it takes anywhere from 10 to 15, 20 minutes to have us use a restroom with their children. And using that as a story and explaining what that is and how burnt out I can just be by taking 3 kids to the bathroom, I just don't want to go, or I end up wanting to leave. So it's like you want to use some emotional thing here where you want to be able to have them go, yes, I've experienced this. Yes, I felt that. This is where I know one of my clients, she's talking about repair after divorce. It's if she's talking to a bunch of women that are in divorce or going through a divorce, they're going to nod their heads. Oh my God, yes. How many of us moms that drop off our kids at the school zone and it feels like a death trap? It's just like the school zones I feel like it's just like I'm playing leapfrogs there. But everyone's, oh my God, yes, it's so hard to get around. So here, you want to list 2 or 3 hidden struggles your audience is also facing that you can speak to. Okay? And I'll show you guys a couple of my pitch decks. I'm not sure if it's at the end of this slide, but I can show you a couple of ones that we have co-created at the end. So it all kind of formulates. Okay? So I understand that this is a lot of writing. There's a lot of tools behind this and a lot of, I'm not sure what to say, Bina. I'm not sure if this is good enough. Right now, I just want you to understand the formula and then we can actually go through this more or you guys can reach out to me and we can actually go through this together. Okay? Because I do understand that this can be very challenging for a short period of time. Oh, another one. I like my questions. What makes you unique? I say nurse coach, health coach, professionals that companies can't get anywhere else. What makes you unique? I'm just picking on Stephanie just because she's again on my first of my. We don't have a nurse leader workshop. There is no leadership course in nursing. Like, I do know that what makes her unique. Sorry, there's other people on here that I can't see. So what makes you unique? That's the next question that I want you guys to self-express, right? And if you don't know this answer, this one might be a little deeper one. This is a question where I want you to take and to really do a brain dump on, right? What makes you unique? What is it about you where why should they hire Tanya versus Anahi, right? Why are you different? And what is your superpower here? That is what makes you unique. That is where people can go. Like for me, the uniqueness of the Silent Struggle Solutions is I got 3 children. I also have 3 children with special needs. You're not going to find another mom that's able to have their own employee assistant program that truly relates to that, whereas other programs might feel like they can relate to it, right? But I'm a living proof of it. So I have the upper hand because of my experience, my in-home experience. So if 2 people came with the same plate, that's what makes it different. If 2 people have the same plate with the same offer and we both have children with special needs, what makes my uniqueness versus somebody else? Maybe it's my personality that makes me more unique. This is where you want to brag. Okay? I'm going to tell you this. This is where you want to brag about yourself. This is where you want to celebrate you. This is where you're not going to play small. This is not where we're like, I'm not sure. Deep down inside, every single one of you knows why you are unique and why they should choose you over somebody else. Correct? Even though we're not putting things out there, this is also a limiting belief question too, is a lot of people don't want to share it. They don't want to share it. And this is a proof of that. And when people don't want to share it, that also shows me as a coach, this is an area where we need to work on. We need to get you up to that level where you can be like, yeah, I'm that badass coach. And you'd write that. What makes you better than anyone? I'm a badass coach. Okay? All right. 3, the missing link. This is why you. Show why your role bridges that gap. You're a coach, you're a healthcare provider, you're a chaplain. This is where you shine. This is where I tell people, this is where you put your credentials, this is where you put your schools, this is where you have if you have that laundry list, I don't, but if you have that laundry list, put it down here, okay? Because it shows authority, it shows who you are, it shows that you're educated, it shows whatever you've done, a TEDx talk, workshops. This is where you want to put, because you want them to say, I want to invest in you. You're not a cost. So what this means is that you want to translate, and I put some of my outcomes on here, is what I do with the Silent Struggle Solutions is I help reduce sick days. I help increase retention. I increase stronger well-being within the company itself. I increase team dynamics, team conflicts. Now, when I present it that way, why me? It's because of my credentials. It's because of me knowing what I'm doing. It is because I've done this in 8 different organizations now. I'm embedded into 5. So here I'm going to place all those different types of stuff in this particular slide. Every company I've worked for, the success rates I do. When I say we want to brag here, we want to brag. That is why when I asked this question prior, I have a lot of patience and I want to make it, yes, it's the experience. But if we have a hard time answering this right here, okay, we're going to have a hard time with this particular thing. And this is the #1 reason where people fail. High-level professionals to any type of coach to I've worked with multi-million-dollar companies and I've helped them with their pitch decks. And the #1 thing they have done wrong is this. Why you? Because they always feel like they're talking too much about themselves. They always feel like they're overcompensating. And in reality, you wanted, this is like I tell people, this is like the Golden Globes or the Grammys or whatever trophy you want to go to. This is where I'm going to put Taylor Swift in here. Why she's great. Why Taylor Swift? So you want to do that. So you, in this one, you want to be able to write one sentence that positions you as essential, not an option. And how I would craft with my silent struggle solution offer is I would state that I help employees with their with their engagement because I help with the silent struggle on the silent struggles. I help their home life become balanced so they can come to work feeling more innovative product, and forgot the other word that I use. But do you see how I use that? And then I focus it in onto the company. So you always want to position it to why they cannot live without you. It's almost like you're getting married to your, almost like when you're just sending your vows. You can't, except in that light, but why you? Okay? Okay. The third one, fourth, we're on number 4. Here is where you want to position your offer. Here is where you want to have the emotion, the logic. What are you doing? Are you doing one-on-one support, your program? This is where you want to connect with your outcomes. So anyone that's in my in the Corporate Nurse Coach Accelerator program, this is where I would put Corporate Nurse Coach Accelerator program. It's a group container, 6K for 6 months. You're going to learn your clarity. You're going to learn your offer. We're going to teach you a 1-page flyer. We're going to teach you how to do a business proposal. We're going to make sure that whatever you're coaching in your one-on-one container bridges to corporate deals and or larger organizations. But do you see how now that's super clear? And then you're going to tie that to how's that going to save you money? I'm a coach that I can guarantee you that you will not need to hire somebody else because I'm going to set your foundation so strong that the shiny object syndrome disappears. But do you see how using that as a group offer, how do we do that in your particular offer as well? So here, it's just like you really want to focus on the audience, on what they are going to expect. What are they going to get delivered? This is the deliverables in your pitch. What are they going to go, yep, I did this. Yep, I got this, and then this. Yep, had that. Yep, check mark. That is the best way I can explain to you here on why this one is all about your offer and your deliverables. Okay. And then again, this is the proof, the credibility. We really want to create a success story. So a lot of times people here will be like, Bina, I don't have a success story. I've never done this before. I've never pitched to an organization before, but you have done it in your professional work. You have done it at bedside. You have done it at if you're working at a job, you have done it. We can get creative with your story to turn it into a success story. You can be a mom at home with children with special needs. That is your success story. You know what? I haven't done this in a corporation, but I do this every day for 11 years. So always when people think about this one, when they're like, I don't have it or I don't have enough, you have to remind yourself that you are enough. What you're sharing and what we're doing, we're always learning and we're always growing. So we're not going to have an stellar resume. We're going to start with the basics, just like when we get out of college, right? We just graduate college and now we're going to our first job. We don't have we don't have multiple like nursing jobs on there, do we? No. So same thing here. We have to build our credibility, and we also have to look for that one company or that one workshop where it comes in. Again, it goes back to your why for them to say yes to you, and now you're able to add it onto your slide deck. And have your own lived, shared examples. That is part of your success story. So I tell people, if you're doing weight loss, show your story. I went from this amount to look at me now, and this is what it was. These were my challenges I had to face. And show that your work is already creating transformation. Now, this is where I tell people, keep it human. You only need 1 or 2 stories. You don't need 15. We don't need 20. You guys, honestly, you can have your husband be your client success stories. You can have your best friend be your client success story. Okay? It doesn't have to be paid. Like, just telling you, a lot of people, I know a lot of people say this, but I'm going to just throw it out there. A lot of people make up testimonials. It's not the right thing to do. And I'm not telling people to do that. All I'm saying is if you keep it human, you realize from a bedside to friendships to cousins to things like you will, if I really dig into your guys' brain, there are so many success stories that you have done in your lifetime where you have transformed somebody from one conversation. We write about that. Yeah, write about that. And it's whether it's a cousin from 10 years ago to a neighbor I just helped like last week. We have a right, we can talk about it. We don't need to write their names. Remember, we don't write about people's names. I put fictitious names. I don't, when I do it, I put a client or a member or something else, especially when it's going to a large audience. Two reasons, because of the confidentiality of the person. And I just don't want to get into any legal issues with that. So you want to write one story or quote that you could do to share to prove impact. And whether it's, if I help parents with special needs, Bina made me feel loved, heard, and supported. Powerful. Just one statement. And that has came from a client from probably 3 years ago. But do you see how I'm still able to use it? Helpful? Any questions so far? Okay. And then the very end, call to action. This is also a partnership invitation. And when I say partnership, I say this actually, I should probably change this to a collaboration invitation. I don't believe in a partnership. Partnership in general terms in business means you have ownership of someone else's company. There is legal binding between two companies. A partnership is also, there's just some legal ties, okay? A collaboration is when two people are having to collaborate and we are engaging into another conversation. Me and Claire just did that the first 2 minutes of the phone call. Hey, when we comes up, it's a collaboration invite saying, hey, I would love to get to know you. All right. It was super easy, super quick. You want to end with, this is just not a program. This is and I want to repeat this. I probably should change this, partnership, where this is a collaboration. You can say partnership in more corporate settings if you're doing this in a larger organization. But if you're going to use this pitch deck to also help with your one-on-one clients, retreats, all these different things, you can do that as well. If you're going to Chamber of Commerce, if you're doing this at a local, smaller, what do they have those like meetings, those meetups, BNI meetups or whatever they are. So in that world, you're able to use partnership, but just remember that sometimes it does mean legal, there's some legal binding. And then offer the next steps, offer a pilot, offer a workshop series, offer, what do you want to offer? Say, hey, for everybody that attends and I'm doing this, I'm going to give every single one of you guys a free 30-minute workshop. Okay. Be very clear with what you want. Your intent is to sell. So if your intent is to sell like a lunch and learn, or if your intent is to be like, I'm just here to have connections, invite them into a discovery call. But make it easy for them to say yes. We only want to do one call to action. And that could just be, hey, everyone scan this QR code, here, put your name and number and email on here, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. It could be as easy as that. But one clear call to action. And you want them to you want it to have it where after the call, they come up to you and they want more information. And that's where you want on that. Which feels the hardest for you guys? Pricing your offer, showing a return of investment. And that one, we didn't really go into that much, or asking for the sale. And this one is more about the money aspect of things. Yeah. Yeah. So here's the secret. Here's the secret is when we talk about pricing your offer, a lot of people are like, oh, know your worth, don't oversell, don't undersell, don't do this, don't do that. Here's the secret, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what the hell you charge. You charge what you want to charge. It's you. If you want to go in there and say, hey, this is going to charge me $10,000, charge the $10,000. Right? If you want to go in there and be like, hey, this is going to be a $5 million deal, great. Go in there and do it. Because at the end of the day, the pricing of your offer, that's a conversation I can have with. The showing the return of investment and asking for the sale automatically will go away with when you come in with a strong why. When you come in with a strong why and you come in with that strong intention to serve, you're already showing them the return of investment because of your personality, your engagement. Asking for the sale is the easy part because you're already there pitching. If you're already going into a pitch deck and you're already showing these slides, you're already asked to be sold. You're already asking for a sale. Does that make sense? Pricing your offer, that's a whole nother workshop that I will be doing, not the next month, but the month after. I'm traveling in this next couple of weeks. But pricing your offer, really, I do it in a very unique way. I go by different avenues with that. And if you start low, you guys, like my first lunch and learn, I think I charged like $500 from my first lunch and learn to a corporation. And one of my coaches was like, "Oh my God, you charged way low. Do you know most people charge $5,000 or something?" And I'm like, I don't want to charge $5,000 because one, I'm not even sure if they're going to tell me yes. Two, not really sure what I'm doing. And three, I rather have the credibility, right? I rather than be like, hey, I had a yes, whether it was $500 and now I charge 3,000, but that came after 5 years. So I don't really care about how much you want to charge. Now, don't charge $50. Now you'll get a phone call from me. That I can tell you. I will promise you that, right? You want to go by what you daily make at a nursing salary, take your day rate and up it by 20%. If you really want to know, that's a little small way of a trick of how much you make on a day. So average nurse here in California makes anywhere from 500 to 800. So I lowballed it. I was like, all right, I'm going to charge 500 bucks. And now I charge $500 an hour just for strategy. So pricing your offer, I don't want you guys to get so stuck on it because if you're doing it for the first time or if it comes up, charge what your heart desires. Okay? There is no right, wrong, good, or bad. Now, if you do it multiple times and you're charging only $500, yes, you'll still get a phone call from me. Now we got to move up. We got to move it up. Because then there's a limiting belief. There's something else going on why we're still charging. And a lot of people do it just for credibility too. It's repeatable. And there's nothing wrong with that. If I charged $500 and I'm bad at math, so 5 times 10. What is that?
5,000.
5,000, right? If I did 10 companies that said yes to me every month and I'm okay with that $5,000 rate, fine. So but then when we're doing that, eventually what I want you guys to do is then be able to stagger that up. So then you can get maybe $1,000 for 10. Now you got $10,000, right? So I don't want you guys focusing so much. And I know there's so much noise out there for corporate clients and corporate contracts. And you can charge $25,000 and for a speaking event. And I'm like, okay. Sure, I could. But the most common mistakes people do is they focus so much on credentials, so much with their education, so much on so many things that they forget about the impact. Because you can be a perfect person, like I said, that has no degree and have the most beautiful impact. And then selling sessions instead of selling outcomes. And what I mean by that is we're just going by making a deal. We're like, oh, I'm going to sell this. 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 Versus coming from a place of, okay, I'm talking to Claire. Her outcome is a lunch and learn and a workshop. Okay, let me give you a price point on that. Tanya here, just because the two of you are on my split screen, Tanya is looking for my entire EAP program plus monthly lunch and learns. But do you see how now I'm selling on that outcome? I'm going to give Tanya is going to get a very higher bill rate versus what Claire's going to get. But I'm not selling it per the session. Oh, if I do this and then I do this, then I'll get this done, then I get that done, because it's a relationship. And the other one is we're overlooking the text instead of telling a story. And what I mean by that is how many times do we get lost into writing long, long emails? And we're trying to explain what we're doing, and or we'll, on LinkedIn or something, like we get bombarded with these. I don't know about you, but I get these random text messages now with people selling me stuff through text messages, right? So it's like sometimes we're overloaded with text messages. We're overloaded with some of those stuff, but people will remember your story. They won't remember a text, but they will remember your story. And sometimes what the number one thing is that we need to frame it as an investment, not an expense. So when a lot of people go in, they go, "Oh, I want to do corporate wellness." They're like, "Oh, I don't got budget for that. I don't have that." Okay. What is your turnover rate? What is your burnout rate? How many parents in your company that has parents with special needs in your company right now? Oh, I don't know. Do you see how that becomes it's a different way of an approach? You have to know how to write. If we ask the right questions, now I'm an investment. I'm not an expense. It's like, oh my God, I don't know, Bina. Let's go find out. I can guarantee you more than 4% of your company has a child with special needs and that parent is struggling. Have you spoken to them recently? No. Did you know that 1 in 36 children nationwide are going to be diagnosed with autism, and it'll go to 1 in 28 in the next 2 years?
Oof.
No, I didn't know that. But do you see how I can come in so credibly and so controlling that would you not want that parent to stay, or do you want that parent to go to another company that is going to be supporting towards them? Or do you want to then they're like, I don't want to turn over. I don't want to create that new job role again. I don't want to do that. Okay, then let's have a conversation. How can I support your company? But that's just from me telling my story and how now I'm not an expense. How now my first contract, who I still work with 5 years later, still is in my contacts. Because they know that there's more parents that are coming out that have children with disability, and they all reach out to me at any given time. Yeah. So whether we want to, yeah, we still have time. Whether we want to do this here or now, let me see what's next. Okay. This one it's an exercise, and it might take a little bit longer, so we might or may not have time for this, but if we don't, I would love to hear one or two people, especially the ones that are in my accelerator. You guys are a little bit ahead of more ahead of the game on this. This is your guys' opportunity to start writing it out. Tell me your story. Tell me, are you able to define one pain point in your audience? Parents with special needs, I can tell you, we're tired. We're not heard. We don't get invited, right? We're isolated. What is your simple solution? Write them out. How do you make that mom or dad feel that they are being heard? And comes up. It's a list of things to do with that. And this ROI statement, return of investment statement, you want to talk about turning over cost. My program will reduce your numbers by what? So with Silent Struggle Solutions, I can give you guys real numbers. I have saved one company, I think over $500,000 in 1 year, because we were able to reduce FMLA. We were able to reduce the amount of sick time being used in this particular population, because it was apparent they had an ERG group, like a group with them. They all didn't have to leave. because they felt supported. They were able to stay at work and be more productive. So we were able to help the company save over $500,000 in 1 year. So if somebody wants to pick at this, we do have a couple of minutes to do it. I know this is also a very mentally challenging section. So if anyone wants to kind of trial it out, I'm here to help. And if not, I get it. It's very challenging. Yeah. Yes?
I was going to say, when I was working in critical care in the hospital as a chaplain, we were always told, if you can keep one nurse from leaving, you've paid your salary for the year.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would be your turnover. Your ROI. That's your crafting your one statement. If I can keep one nurse at bedside, I have kept, what you said at the very end.
Yeah.
Now, let's just use yours as a story since we're here. What is your why behind being a chaplain? Like, what is your reasoning on wanting to help more?
I was standing outside in ICU rooms watching a nurse struggle with explaining a test to a patient. They were like on parallel tracks. There was no communication. And the thing was that they were both getting frustrated. And the nurse came out and said, somebody's not listening. And I thought, imagine the patient could say the same thing. When people connect on a deep level, deep listening, intentional listening can lead to a deep connection, and deep connection can lead to transformation.
Yeah. So your pain point, you're defining your audience pain point is a lack of listening.
Yeah.
Just from what you heard, right?
Yeah.
Lack of listening. So if you choose that story, right? The number one thing, and it's the number one thing in the world, people don't listen. They think they're listening, but if we did an actual listening workshop, I can guarantee you how many of you guys are not listening, actually listening. And now what is your solution? That deep empathetic transformation. Now from that, write a list out of like, how do you do that? What are you going to do to get somebody from not actively listening to that deep sympathetic transformation work? Because you already got the crafting your ROI.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, the challenge for you right now is listing that solution. Like, what would you do with them so they are able to actually listen to a person on the other side of them?
This program I've developed, it's based on, I'm calling it 4 Steps to Better Listening. And the acronym is SALT. You smile, ask questions, listen, and trust in the process, and try it again. Keep it moving forward. And through an organic conversation, then you can make the connection.
Your slide decks or your pitch deck's ready to go. You just need to put it on paper now.
Listen, my son this last weekend, he said, Mom, stop being a chicken. You're all ready to go. And I'm like, but I'm scared. Mom, get out there. I was like, no, don't make me.
And here I am saying, you're all ready to go. What's stopping you?
Did you talk to my son?
Not one bit.
Okay.
Not one bit. But you are ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So was that helpful, everyone, to hear that story if we're crafting one? How easy it is when you have all the pieces, and how when you're not making it like she had an actual signature solution. I did not know that. I did not know that. I swear that was not planned. This was not planned. Just happened to pick on the right person today. But you see how when we have it and when it becomes easy, it's easy, right? But sometimes it's going to take that brain dump. It's going to take that emotional brain dump for us to craft it. But once we have it, man, it's so much easier. So now when you're doing that, here is literally how you're going to present into your slide deck. It is as easy as this. And you can have 1 or 2 slides per one. If this is a pitch deck in general, it can be, I say, if you try to keep it to 6, 7 slides here, keep it to 7 slides. If you want to go to 7, 8 slides for a higher level presentation, you're more than welcome to. But the less is a little bit more because we want to keep our pitch deck and our pitches when we're doing it, even to a larger audience, no more than 5 or 10 minutes, because then we're going to lose them. We're going to lose audience. We're going to lose the clarity. Then some people are going to be like, all right, just get to it. Where are you going with this? Hurry up. What are you selling me on? So we want to be able to do that. This is also in your guys' workbook, or it should be, but the title page, the title slide, just what you saw, who you like, just what your program is called, what you're calling yourself, what are you offering? Mine is the Silent Struggle Solutions, the Nurse Coach Accelerator, right? Real life with special kids. And then who am I? Who are you? Why are you doing this? The hidden struggles. This is where your story comes in. This is where we're going to embrace the story. The cost to the companies, if they don't hire you, what is that company costing? If there is no chaplains in the hospitals, how many nurses would leave? How many lives would not be touched? Whether it's not nurses, maybe it's patients, right? And maybe it's any employee in chaplain services, right? But if we get rid of that altogether, how many people, how much do you think the hospital is going to, what's the consequences of that? What is that going to cost? And I'm using that just because we did your offer.
Yeah.
And what is your solution? The solution is you are the solution. You want to tell them like, hey, do you have an HR team that's burnt out, that looks like they don't want to be here? They're coaching and doing this. And how many of you want to work 2 jobs? And everyone's like, no, I don't want to work 2 jobs. Then great, hire me. Let me be your coach. You do the HR job, let me be the coach. How many of you guys would love to hear that and do that? How many hands will go up? Dang, great. And then impact the stories. The minute I do that, every hand comes in, boom, I reinvent the wheel. If you hire me, I guarantee you your turnover will go down. Your retention will go up. Right? And then your call to action. So with the Silent Struggle Solutions is just book a call with me. Let me get to know you. Here's a Google link or a Google form. Or it could just be like, hey, connect with me on LinkedIn. And before you go onto LinkedIn, clear your messages. Okay? Clear your messages, your inboxes, make it so it's all red. So when you go in and have a new acceptance or a new person and a new message, you know exactly it came from that particular pitch. Small little details, and you don't need a whole lot. And it could just be that. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Or connect with me. Here's a Google form. It will go to an email, and then whatever you want to co-create here. But this call to action is simple. All it is, all you want them to do is be able to get a hold of you, and you need to be reachable. And they want to be able to you want to be able to show that you are reachable. So if your calendar looks like mine and it's very filled, okay, I put up a fake calendar that's pretty not filled. Not gonna lie. Because then guess what? I work around it. Because what are the chances of, if I have 100 people in that room, what are the chances of every single 100 people trying to reach out to me? Next to nothing. Why? Because pitches don't make money in the room. It's all in the follow-ups. So if they show like, oh my gosh, she's fully available, great, pick a time that works. And if there's a conflict on your real calendar, email them. Hey, you know what? Guess what? You have an open line of I have a sooner availability. Are you free at 2 p.m. today? I just can't had a cancellation. Then it's sense of urgency. It's, oh yeah, I can move that up. Or I can't do the 3 o'clock. Don't lie. Just don't. But also just be like, oh, you know what? There was a conflict of interest. My apologies. Can we move it on to another date? But now do you see how you're open that engagement of conversation? And it's a natural one. But honest to God, my real calendar is very packed. So if I were to open that up, you might not get on my calendar for 2 or 3 weeks. Now, if I do that and I say, hey, contact me, and they're like, this girl wants me to contact her, but I can't reach you for 3 weeks. You ain't Taylor Swift. Like, who are you? Right? Like, you can't be unapproachable. is my point. You can't sit there and be like, oh my God, if I have a scarcity calendar, people are want to book. Just the opposite. They want to know you're approachable. And if you're doing LinkedIn, soon as you get back to your hotel that night or wherever you leave or wherever you come from, accept and do a message right away. You want to do your follow-ups within 24 hours. I actually say 12, but if you end up at noon, do it within the 24 hours. Okay. What would you change most in your life if you landed your first corporate contract and it was a yes? What would change? Your confidence, your income, or your freedom? Mm, okay. Does this shock you guys when seeing these numbers? Now, when we do a B2B contract or we're pitching to a higher, larger organization, it does change your income. There's no questions. It increases your confidence and it does increase your freedom. Now, what I say by this is when you're able to pitch to a large organization, you're taking your offer. Claire, I'm going to use yours just because we worked on it. If we're
Okay.
able to place a chaplain into a large organization and comes up and have them provide the service on this act in this deep listening conversation, she has now taken her global impact and instead of touching one by one, she is now touching one to many. But even though your income might be, I don't know, that workshop might be, I don't know, $5,000, right? But now you have now impacted 300 people or 400 people versus not saying one-on-one coaching is not correct. All I'm saying is I still do one-on-one coaching, but your offer needs to be the exact same. So what Claire would do in a corporate side is going to be the exact same, the deep listening thing she can do on one-on-one. She can do retreats. She can do a workshop on where she can get income from recurring revenue around workshop. And she can also land this into large organizations, all because she's doing it around listening. But sometimes we also want to remind ourselves that we're not doing it for the money.
Yeah.
We're doing this for the service. And when we look at it in that light, your income will automatically 10x. It doesn't matter what you think on that. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, we want to realize that when we're doing it for a place of service, you might be paying a little bit less, we're impacting more, and now the referrals are going to go even more. Yes, corporate deals can be larger, bigger clumps. So you get a $10,000 deal, then a $20,000 deal, but it's one deal, right? You boost your income, just boost. It's just like energy, like dopamine hits, right? You're just like, woo, right? Or jumping on a trampoline. It's just like up and down, but it's not, sometimes it's not completely steady. So we still want to develop a program that we are co-creating, same offer on the other end, co-creating one-on-one services and our group container, because that's where the consistency can be and not being burnt out at the same time, which I also teach in the accelerator, how to do that at ease. But this is one of my ones that we've noticed that everyone always, it's a lot. And depending on what the group lies, it just depends on where you're feeling. And there's no right, wrong, good or bad answer to this question. Okay. So this is just a reminder that your story is your pitch deck. And when you are, if you are able to cultivate your story into a story arc, you know how like books have these arcs? I just read about these things, right? You want it to be relatable, emotional, valuable, credible, and actionable, meaning you are ready to take action the next day. if somebody comes to you and they go, hey, I want to have, again, this deep listening conversation. Are you ready to go? And can you do this tomorrow at noon? Your answer has to be yes. And you should be able to be ready to go. So when we're doing all that stuff, the actionability part is the biggest part. Because if you're going to do a call to action, you're like, but I'm free tomorrow, but I'm busy tomorrow. I'm doing, I don't know, X, Y, and Z. You might have to rearrange your plans. Because then you want to be approachable. You want to be able to position yourself as when they say yes, you are also ready to go. It's a kind of a questioning, but I'm going to turn this off and then we're going to just kind of, you guys can just ask questions because sometimes, unless you guys want it to be confidential, then I can pop it back up. Do you guys have any questions? But then I can also talk to you guys too. Go back to relatability here. Questions, thoughts? Yes, Dulcie.
Bina, also, oh,
Go ahead, Dulcie, go ahead.
So I have been working on this nurse coaching thing like for a long while.
Okay.
And I've seen you at the conferences and different things. And I have a pitch, I have a story. I've done a lot like these slides, like what you're doing are amazing because I've done that through Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, if you've heard of them. It's point on. What you're teaching is point on. So it's just, you're the nurse. So it's like you're more point on for me because you're my people. My story is a little different because I'm not, and it makes me think what you're doing is like, why did you, instead of doing one-on-one coaching, different things, like what made you think of that corporate thing? And then what, not seeing like what do you offer them, but like how do you make up, like you have these mini courses and you do this, you do that. Like I'm at that point now that I'm trying to put all that stuff together. And I also, since I did the nurse coaching thing, I did another thing. I did yoga.
Okay.
So I've got this master's degree in yoga, and I, like you work with your child with disabilities. I'm disabled myself. I have an artificial limb. So my whole goal is to work with people with disabilities to give them hope because I've been told I couldn't become a nurse. So I'm that nurse. But from doing this yoga course thing, these nurses need what I have learned. And I almost want to bring that to the corporate part of the hospital because none of us, for me, like I never realized what I was missing out on until I took this whole course through learning social emotional learning. You learn a 500-hour yoga, but it's not like about yoga and like the religion or whatever with it. It's about the whole mindset of how to breathe, how to take care of yourself, how to interact with people, how to be at the bedside, how to be calm, and versus like Claire was saying, that nurse had no idea what to do and how does it. And I love my chaplains because I work at Children's Hospital in Cincinnati, and they are always present in the trauma bay, calming that parent and telling them what's going on. And because you're a nurse, you're busy, you're doing this, you're doing chest compressions, you're doing all this kind of stuff. And I want to incorporate what I've learned into corporate.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm not ready for that step because I'm working now with another nonprofit who's getting themselves up off the ground, who work with people with disabilities. He's actually a physical therapist who has learned that these kids like me have been told, no, you can't do this, you can't do a sport, you can't do that. And he's bridging that gap and building that. So it's almost like you want to get into the hospital to say, hey, let's do this for the nurses with the yoga stuff, but coach them too. And then bridge it to this other company where you have these kids with these disability, bridge the gap, get them into whatever. I'm
Mm.
55 years old. I did a hand cycle because I have an artificial limb. I couldn't do the bicycle. I probably could have, but it would have been ugly. But you do that bicycling, and I came in third place. It's like Cincinnati, it's Boston Marathon
Yeah.
in the hand cycle stuff. It's just trying to put all these parts together now and make that work.
Yeah. So to answer to your first question, which was why did I choose corporate versus something else? Honestly, it just landed in my lap. I knew there was a gap, and I actually had a very successful coaching career prior to even leaving the Nurse Coach Collective. I actually had a full plate before even leaving the collective. And I was already burnt out. I'm like, I gotta do this how many times? Every time, like every 10 times, I gotta do this how many times again? I was like, oh, hell no. There has to be a better way. There has to be an easier way. I'm not trying to do this. Sorry. I'm not doing 10 calls, 3 calls. No. I already knew that. Like, I already knew I
Right.
was going to burn out with that.
Right. It's
It's
gosh,
just
like
not sustainable. I'm like, then I
right.
might as well just stay at the ER if I'm going to keep rotating people in and out all the time. I'm like, I might as well stay at bedside at that point. So I already knew that mentally going in, and I started thinking about just like what I was telling Claire is like I started looking at how can I support somebody in a one to many, right? In a one
Right.
to many approach. So I'm not burning out. And even if I did one corporate client and that's just what I did my entire career, I'm fine with that too. Like I would have been completely fine. And then another one came, and then another one came. And then a lot of nurse coaches were like, how do you do that? Then that's when I started becoming with the accelerator. And then I started teaching it. So it all became in this like course. It just all came to me because I'm a believer, the right time, the right place, the right circumstance. But I
Right.
also was super clear, like Claire's super clear with what she wants to do. Like there's one clear path with hers. It's just listen. Whereas with yours, you have multiple facets that's going on. And you
Right.
still want to take all your superpower, right? And really combine it into one offer. There is a way to do that. That is why in the Nurse Coach Accelerator, I do out of the box thinking. I have what I call the rainbow method to really help you with that specifically. So if you're interested, I would love to jump on a call with you one-on-one. We can set it up before we get off this call. Let's talk about that, right? Because when we're doing multiple things and I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to go here, that's great. You know what? That's called ambition. And guess what? I turned all 3 of my ambitions into 3 different businesses. And they all are growing multi-six figures.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part about your story is like you have these multifacets too, and I feel like I do too, but I don't know how to make them
Work.
go
Yeah.
work.
Let's jump on a call so we can really talk about that. Maybe the accelerator would be a good place for you. Again, not pitching in any given disguise, but I do know that when we're having multiple different areas pulled in different stuff. Sorry, my kid has decided to sing downstairs. But we want to be able to do that. There is a way to do that. There is a way to take all these ideas, everyone's brilliant ideas, and maybe we focus in on one, right? I focused on the disabilities first, right? Then I was like, oh, then I can do this. Oh, okay, let me pull this up. Oh, now my speaking engagements went up last year. Okay, then there we go. But I was able to do that, but I also was able to prioritize what do I want to work on first? Get that
Right.
solid foundation first, and then be able to incorporate maybe multiple things in that offer. So maybe like with Claire, she's going to companies. Maybe it's a workshop that she does on deep listening, which I can already see. She already has a program to solve everything else, right? A method and everything. So it's okay. Positioning for her is the key. Like for her, it's all about positioning. That's it. Right. So the minute we get that with yours and have a clear offer of what you're trying to co-create, then again, it's positioning. But it's the same thing on what you're going to do on one-on-one, a group coaching container, and what you're going to do in large organization, whether you want to take that to bedside or you want to take that into a nonprofit. The word corporate is an umbrella of just business. And I want to remind people that hospitals are the #1 corporations in the world. It's probably one of the most corrupt ones in the world, too. It's going to fall, but we all live through it. And congratulations for being a nurse and having your disabilities. I want to commend you for that.
Thank you.
I want to commend you for that because you are that rock star and that is your story.
True.
It's your story. It's fine. But that's your story. Is you are that 1% or that 0.05%.
True.
The ones where they tell you no and you can't do it and look at you here. What bedside were you at?
I've been a nurse for 26 years at Children's Hospital in Cincinnati. I started in the float pool and
Okay.
I did that for a year.
Yeah.
And then I went to a med surge
Okay.
for 3 years. And then our building got tore down because Children's Hospital just keeps building buildings and doing. And I went to the ER for 13 years.
Congratulations.
And now I'm over in primary care. I call it my retirement job. I do phone triage. I get to do that from home, which is beautiful because it's just beautiful.
And don't give it up.
No,
Create
not giving it up.
passion. Co-create that and build your passion at the same time.
And that's what I'm trying to do because I can click off of work at 7, click on a call, do whatever.
But I want to commend you for being 20-something years at bedside. And guess what? Your disability wasn't a disability. It made you an ability.
And that's kind of like your story of what you want to tell.
That's your story.
And it's so funny that the CEO of our company started a book club. I'd never heard of it. And he went in, you got an email, you were invited on my teams, and I just did it this week. And I was like, I'm going to see what this is. And he did it. He had the author there that was Atomic Habits. You know that book?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That guy, that author is from our area. He came to our hospital as a kid and got hit in the face with a ball bat, and we took care of him and everything, and it was great. His sister had leukemia from like age 3 to 5, and she's doing well, and she's up in Chicago now. But this guy, this CEO I learned so much about him. He had this picture, like he was trying to tell you a little bit about why the author and all that kind of stuff. But he said, you have to keep going forward. And he goes, I have this picture of my patient, me and her. He was an ICU doctor, and now he's CEO of the company. This patient was on a ventilator for 6 months. He said, I don't know how many times I sat down with his family and told them that she was not going to live. And she did, and she's done amazing and all this kind of stuff. And he goes, if I have a bad day, he has her picture on her desk, on his desk. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it just makes me just so happy inside. But he says, the thing that I don't like about these corporate worlds, and I'm going to try and find my piece of paper. He said that these young people come in and they try to pitch an idea and nobody likes it. And he said, you need to come in with an offer. That's why I did this tonight, because he says you need to come in with an offer of how is it going to benefit the patient? How is it going to benefit the employee? And how do you want to implement it?
Yeah.
To make it work.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, it was like my ticket to get the offer into Children's Hospital.
There you go.
I was just like, it just gave me chills. And then your thing came up today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everything's like falling into place. And I was like,
this is the synchronicity that I cannot even explain to anybody.
Yeah.
I can't. This is the synchronicity that I cannot explain. When people ask me, like, how did you meet this person? Or how did you connect with this person? Or where did this come from? That's the synchronicity that I tell you that you're like, wow. Okay. And guess what? Whoever the universe is listening, please listen.
yeah.
Please listen. You have a very powerful story.
Yeah.
You're a very powerful person. I do remember you at the conference. You are a blessing. And it's a joy to see just even you with you coming in and out. Like I was just like, okay.
Okay, here she comes.
There she
Next year I came to the conference.
but it was like I don't see a disability. I mean, I have a different view of disability. So
Right.
Like I have a very different view of things. But it wasn't like I was gonna say, oh, Josie, do you need help? No, I was gonna be like, damn, that girl got up and down faster than I did.
Yeah. See, this year I came to the conference, I had a fractured hip, and I'm still mending that fractured hip. But I was like, I'm not gonna let this.
Yeah.
not let me come.
Right.
Hit go.
I almost didn't come to the conference because I was diagnosed with asthma. And honestly, I had the worst breathing issues when I was at that conference. And those
You're
hills
in a
did
lot
not,
of trees.
and those hills did not help me.
No.
But my point is that but we still showed up. That's my main thing is you show up. And I don't know about you, but I generally don't do this. I would love for you to be the accelerator. I know Anna Hewitt can come up. We'll send you an email. Let's book a linking with me and let's talk. Because if you already have that on you, all you need to do is invest in yourself so you can get that. Because
I
you
know.
have everything here. Now the universe is just telling you, hey, get the support. And again,
Right.
correct support. I don't charge 1,015. I'm not that type of people that are charging $30,000 and then you feel like you got nothing out of it. I don't guarantee a return on investments. That's for sure. But I do guarantee the clarity. Like that pitch deck, I can help you do. We can help you with that. Get that
Right.
going. You can have it there. Yeah.
I think these projects find us.
They do.
They come to us, and our power or where our is accepting the mission.
Exactly.
There's this need that's out there, and yeah.
For a reason. I tell everyone, and I've said this even in my TEDx, that my children, I gave birth to my children, but they chose me. Like that, they were chosen. And that always makes me tear up. So we're not going to talk too much about it. But they chose me. They chose me to be that mom because I'm that outspoken girl that's loving and caring, an ER nurse that's cheated death thousands of times, but I'm going to be that ride or die person. And that same ride or die mentality comes into my coaching. That ride or die mentality comes into my accelerator program. It doesn't leave me alone. That advocate in me, that's just who I am. That's how I'm able to go into these conferences or wherever it is and just either say, fuck it, I'm sitting here to listen, or give me a mic and I can talk. But it's not a matter, it's because of I've learned how to carry my energy still presently in. And it's easy saying hi to everybody. A lot of people are like, oh, comes in. People are like, how do you remember me? I'm like, no, I was like, I don't know. And they're like, oh, that's because you said hi to me. I'm like, you didn't say hi to other people, didn't say hi to you. What's wrong with these people? I made the intention of like when we're sitting in the dining hall of that place, I sat at a different table every day.
I did the same.
I know I had my friends,
Right.
did, but I stepped outside my comfort zone.
Because you're never going to
Because that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That was the whole connection. We missed each other because apparently I didn't say I sit next to you. Well, now we're here. So, hey, still brings us back. Circle. So you want to be able to co-create that because even if you don't see them there in that moment, the energy also brings it back because I will show up or you will show up or Camille will show up or he will show up when you're needed. Because the universe is, you've already told the universe what you need. That confidence. Yeah.
And it was funny too, because year before last at the conference, I did a class on how to work with people for the spiritual, but not religious. How do you, as a nurse, so I had 12 people. This last time, I did a thing on this energy that we were talking about, Bina. There were over 100 people there and a wait list of almost 100. And I was like, I walked by there and I had asked for like little tables so we could be all warm and fuzzy, and it was set up with, and I was like, and I was irritated. I thought, I guess we can make it work. But there was a need. People were drawn to that need. And
Because it's a calling.
it's a call.
When and all of us probably some sort of shape or form, whoever's on this call probably can all raise your hand. There's some things that's calling you to a greater good. You just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
There's something's calling you that I'm supposed to be doing something more. I'm not sure what, I don't know how yet, and I don't know what it is. But I know there's just something's better and something's out there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you wouldn't be on this call. So that is one of the biggest things that I coach in the accelerator, bringing that energy and let's cultivate it. Don't make it hard. Don't make it overcomplicated. Let's simple it down. And as easy as that, you can then now just have Claire can easily co-create this pitch deck probably by the end of the night if she truly wanted to.
I might just do that.
Yeah. Send it to me when you do. Please email it to me. I would love to see it. I don't know where you are in the world, but it's 5:30 my time, but
Oh, Louisville, Kentucky. I'm downriver from Cincinnati.
There
okay.
you
So
go.
that's what I'm saying. So if you're like comes up, but if you're ambitious enough, I go to bed by 8 o'clock. When my kids go to bed, I still go to bed. It's coming up for me with my kids. But if you have the ambitions to do it, then do it. Do it tonight.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like putting it on the slides, it doesn't have to look all pretty like mine. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie to you. And he's the one that did the slides because I came out of the hospital last week.
I know. I was like, is this the same person? Like, you were in the hospital last week. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with her? And I'm like, ugh.
Called makeup today. I usually don't wear makeup, but today there's makeup on. That is the key.
And I'm like, who's taking care of her poor babies? There's her.
And generally I stand when I do my presentations, and today I'm sitting because my saying up, I look like I'm 5 months pregnant still. So we're just gonna keep it sitting down
There
today.
you go.
But it's
Better
also
make your
just
body
about
low.
showing about the accountability. Even if I'm doing different things, yes, look, I'm still all bruised up.
Oh, girl.
And I'm not gonna lie to any of you. I probably have an abscess in my stomach somewhere. But I still was like, you know what? We're doing this because, and I do know the difference between when I need to say no and when I show up. But the difference is when I give my word, I give my word. And even if I came on this call for 30 minutes and said, you know what, my deepest apologies, which halfway through, I don't know if you guys saw, there was a little bit of discomfort. There may have been a time where I'm like, oh, but then you guys started talking. I was like, oh, I got energized again. You know, I got energized again. And then the endorphins kicked in and all the oxytocin kicked in. And guess what? My pain disappeared. So keep it coming. So just realizing showing up,
Yes.
unapologetically show up. That's one of my biggest my keynote speaking. I celebrate that keynote actually throughout the entire nation. People should hire me now to fly me outside the country just to hear my talk about showing up. Because
Oh, I loved your TED talk.
that's my next TED talk, apparently. Yeah.
I love that one. The one you just did.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Oh.
We're talking about
P, literally.
Yeah.
What is the honest truth?
Yeah.
You know? And it realizing to show you guys that TEDx talk, I was scared shitless. I was so scared. I was like sitting there, you have one take, you go and you got boom, bam. There is no let me get off the red dot and come back on the red dot, right?
Yeah.
Man, it is what it is. It came out the way it's supposed to come out. It was my first TEDx. I am anticipating to do another one by the end of next year is one of my goals. And the next one's probably going to be showing up, right? But it's also just knowing that follow that calling. Sometimes you don't know it and you don't understand it, but if you feel it and you get it, just trust your intuition. That is why energy and intention is such key, and why that is the foundational support to any coaching, whether it's speaking, going into the hospital, going into different type of corporations, with anyone that's on my calls that are in my coaching container now, all know it's all based off of that. Yeah. Anyone else? Camille, I see your facial expressions and it comes up. You want to go off mute and just say hi, hello? Just because I keep seeing it and it makes me laugh.
Hi.
You're helping me. I was like, yes. I love that.
Bring some energy.
Yeah. How are you? But do you see what I'm saying? Like, how did this resonate with you guys? Was this helpful?
Very helpful. When you said one-on-one and have to do it again and again, I might as well stay in the ER. And I was like, yeah, I work as an over-the-phone triage nurse right now. And it's like I'm slapping Band-Aids on things left and right. And I feel like I need to be helping people more on a one-on-one basis. But then the other part of me is, yeah, but I also need to put some food on the table and keep the lights on at home, that I need to make sure that I can turn this into a business. But working one-on-one versus working one on spreading this to many. I never would have thought to do that. And I was working with a coach a couple of weeks ago, and it was, what's the worst thing that could happen? And then what's the best thing that could happen? And we listed all sorts of things out. And the worst thing, that was one thing, but the best thing was, and this turns into a TED Talk. I have no idea where it came from, but it's not too lofty of a goal. And if it doesn't scare the pants off you, it's not big enough of a goal. You need to
just also know that it's whatever your goal is, your goal. It's no one else's to achieve but you. So as a mentor, as a coach, when somebody does that, not that knocking on their boots, but it's to show you what you're capable of. Because only the sky's the limit. But if you don't put it pen to paper, you don't know what you're capable of. Like, how many of you guys honestly answered what you can do or what thumbs up? There's one post in here no one responded to.
I didn't have time enough to. I was trying to text.
I know. I'm
I
sorry.
was
I was
like,
coming. I should.
it's
But
quick.
also, yeah. Maybe next time we'll just do polls. But even then, it's that level of things where I just want everyone to realize that yes, it's easy. And if you have a job that you love, don't give it up. Have this be where I call your income. If you need it, I needed an income before. Not very many people know this, but when I had when I was starting my business, even when I got my corporate deal, I was working per diem as an ER nurse, working weekends, and I was working as a school nurse. I had 3 jobs. Because I was also in the same boat with everybody else. What if this doesn't work? How I need to pay my mortgage. I need to do this. So I made sure I was financially secure with the agreement that I had with my husband, which is pay the mortgage. I'm like, all right, pay the mortgage. You got everything else, but I got the bigger one. But great, I'll pay the mortgage. Okay. All right. Okay, so I need 5,000 or whatever my mortgage is, $5,000, $6,000 a month. Okay. All right. But then do you see how now the school nurse job, which only made $70,000 a year here in California, which is like crickets, that's like dirt. Like you can't even go to McDonald's with $70,000, making $70,000. But it was there, and it was there to cushion. And I didn't make the 5,000 from the school nursing job. Hell no, I didn't do that. I made some to replenish it from my ED job, my per diem job. But then when my business started taking off, I was able to supplement what I said I was going to do. Then as I did that, right? And my all these years, then when I started making consistent 5K months, then I started jumping to 10, 20, 30, 50, and I started making consistency. Then I was able to say, hey, I'm dropping this, because then I'm able to let go. But I never tell anybody, ever tell no one, do not quit. Do not quit. You can go all in your business and still go all in your home job or whatever you're doing, and you can still have a very successful business, and then it becomes a choice. Because what I would not want to see is people like, I want to do this, and then they're like, I hate this. I just want to go back to bedside. Comes in. Honestly, I'm doing a collaboration with a physician, and she says, Bina, can you come do an IV hydration nurse or a peptide nurse for me? And I'm like, sign me up. You telling me I just gotta throw IVs into people all day long who are healthy? Easy. I can do that all day. When do you want me to start? But again, now that income for me, that is just my fun money.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with my business. That has nothing to do with my children. That's just 100% for Bina to spend. Without my husband saying, do you know this? Or for my husband to spend, because my husband likes to try to touch my business money. But then that becomes our children's funds. That becomes the travel fund. That becomes the fun money. Because I'm sustainable fully on my business. But business money, even when you're making multi-six figures, that goes back into your business. You may not be paying yourself for the first year or 2 years. There's days I don't pay myself now. I have employees.
If you have a contract to actually can be 60 or 90 days before you actually get
a paycheck. Exactly. But that's why, as you're working on these contracts or in these B2B deals, embedding into companies, whether you want to do hospital work or large organization, there is no difference between the two. It's the exact same method. I don't know why people try to make it as if they're two different things, but they're not. Hospitals are organizations. Then still get that one-on-ones, get those group coaching containers going, get your membership up and running, get something else, but that becomes fun. Your business has to be fun. Otherwise, you might as well just be going back to bedside unless you hate bed. I actually liked bedside. I'm not going to lie. I actually really, truly do miss it, but I don't miss the toxicity behind it. That makes
The
politics,
drama.
nagging, the drama, the people sleeping with each other, the who's what. It's disgusting. I'm like, y'all are it's just disgusting. The parties, the drinking, the oh my God, you're the superhero nurse because you did 16-hour shifts 3 days in a row. And I'm like, I'm going to bed, y'all. I am out. You're lucky if I don't call in tomorrow if I work at 16. I'm 110% calling in sick the next day. But it's just like that I don't miss that. I do miss the connections. I miss the bonding with patients. I miss the hand holding with people, the parents of me being able to do that with when there are children that are coming in, that are families that are autistic. No, I even pitched to them at the hospital. I said, here my flyer. You know, no, one of my bosses, that's illegal. I'm like, where? I'm just giving them a resource. Don't we have a resource sheet? They go, yep, I just attached it. That's all I did. I just stapled it. You're telling me all these are approved? They go, we're not 100% sure. I was like, great, I'm not either. Here you go. You got to be outside the box thinking, but you also have to be bold enough to do it.
Yeah.
Bold enough to be able, in a hospital, bold enough to take the consequence. I'm like, good, write me up. Please do. Okay. That's our consequence. You're going to, oh, so you're going to be suspended. You're telling me I have a vacation? Wonderful. I'm going to go work on my business. You're not, there is no consequence. You're going to fire me? Even better. Unemployment laws. Can't fire me. I have the union to back me up. Okay, you want to put me in a different department? That's going to be less work. Oh, that's even better. Then I'm going to work on my business while I get paid. Out of the box thinking. Okay. It's you're losing your identity is where people fall.
Right.
Oh, I'm not an ER nurse anymore. Oh, I'm not an ICU nurse anymore. Oh, I'm not this anymore. That's why your identity and your energy and your intentions is so strong. Because I'm still Bina. Whether I was an ER nurse, a school nurse, things, I'm just still Bina.
And we love you.
Thank you. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. I know it is at the 45. We're almost there. Everyone that hasn't spoken, I know there was a couple of people that jumped off. You guys probably saw me waving hands as they were going. Thank you all for being here and listening to this. And I love these stories. I would love to connect with all of you. I think we can put our bookings, if you want to book, put our booking into the link, or we'll send you an email, whichever one comes first. I don't know, whichever one comes first at this point. But if you want to sign up, we have a calendar link. If there's not an appointment that is not available, please email us. We will also send this to you guys via email, just because I do have a limited availability just because of my health at this moment. But if there is a time and a place that we can fix you in, we will. So just in general, I don't work Fridays, but if you need a Friday, I am actually working tomorrow. So it is available because I didn't work all last week. But see, that's the best part. I didn't feel guilty. I was like, oh, yesterday I went to an acupuncture. I got my nails done. And then it comes up. I was like, yes. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't have to worry about posting it. And my manager going, oh my God, you took a day off. I'm like, yep, I sure did. Thank you for following me on Facebook. Sure did. Do you know you called in sick? The last I checked when I called off, I said, yes, calling in sick. Yep. Did you know I saw you on Facebook? I said, great. Did you know if that was from yesterday's post, or did I do that yesterday, or did I do this a week ago? How do you know I did it today? The timestamp said now. Okay, that's when I posted it, or did I schedule it to go up? So many questions. This is the reason why I don't do bedside. Because I think I'd get fired in the first 10 minutes. All right, ladies. Thank you. Thank you guys for the ones that were quiet in the participation area. Thank you, all of you, Kathleen, Pedro, and I know there's a couple of other ones that signed off earlier. I didn't get to say thank you to. And we will be sending you guys the recording and an email to follow up after this too.
Nice to meet y'all.
You too. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.